Good evening, everybody. It is Sunday, 7 o'clock, 7:01. Hope you all had a good weekend. I hope you get to enjoy what's left of it. Hope you had a good week. As good a week as you can being at work. Um, I don't dislike my job, but there's other things I'd rather do than sit around indoors all day. But hey, pays the bills. Can't complain about that. And Sunday's coming to an end. It's cold as heck and windy. We just had a thunderstorm roll through. So I don't know if there's still one around or what's going on. So if the power gets funny, that's why. I haven't heard thunder or lightning in a bit, so maybe we're good. We're out of it. But you never know. Again, I am Seth Eisenberg. This is the Conservative Corner. So if you're supposed to be here, welcome. If you got lost on the way somewhere else and this is where you're at now, hang out for a bit. You might like it. At least you can say you tried it. There's a chat, so if you have any questions or something you want to say about the show or a question about the show, or if you want to know how to make the perfect meatball, post it in the chat and I will respond to you as soon as I can. If I don't get to you the very second you post something, it's not that I'm ignoring you. I'm in the middle of something or it hasn't caught my attention yet, but please feel free. Here, I'll start it off in the chat. What's up? There you go. I started it off, so that's me. So feel free to post, ask questions, make comments, whatever. And if it's something really cool, maybe I'll get off what I want to talk about and talk about what you said. So we can do that. It's been a pretty busy week news-wise, a lot of crazy stuff. So we can jump right into it. I don't know if you've seen this. The guy's name was, let me get it right here. Sean Dunn. He's the guy that threw the sandwich at the police officer. I believe it was in D.C. A Customs Border Protection agent before running away and being arrested. He was charged with assault since he threw the sandwich at the guy, and he was found not guilty because apparently now you can just throw whatever you want to at police officers, and it's fine. It's acceptable now. There's no accountability for what you do because it didn't hurt them, so it really doesn't matter. Even children know when they are angry, you don't throw stuff. But apparently Mr. Dunn is too stupid and doesn't have the intelligence of a child to realize you don't throw things at people when you're upset. Anybody who wears a shirt half unbuttoned like he is probably has mental issues anyway. He was also yelling and screaming at the officers before he threw a sandwich, but none of that matters in D.C. because it's just the police. And really, who cares what happens to them as long as you can do what you want to do and feel good about it. And that's what this all boiled down to. He was upset and angry and butthurt and doesn't have the words to express that, so he just got violent. And I don't care what you say. Throw a sandwich, throw a pillow, throw a brick, throw a rock, throw a bottle. You're assaulting someone. No officer there said, hey, could you throw that sandwich at me? He didn't ask if you throw the sandwich at me and got permission. It's assault. If I'm walking down the street and I throw a sandwich in your face, that's assault. Whether it hurts or not, it's still an assault. So it's legal to assault Border Patrol agents and Customs and Border Patrol agents in D.C. Now it's legal. You can throw it as long as it doesn't hurt them. You can throw whatever you want to throw at them, and it's fine. And we all know that these people on the jury, if they were in school, if their child was in school and a teacher threw a sandwich at them, they'd want the teacher fired because that's assault. So it's going to be a double standard coming down the road. I'm assuming that also these parents wouldn't mind if their child was throwing things at a teacher. As long as it didn't hurt them, they wouldn't care because, it's okay. It's okay to be angry. Like I've told my son, you can be angry, you can be upset, you can be mad, you can disagree with somebody, but it doesn't give you the right to be mean, to assault them, or attack them, do whatever this moron did. You don't get the right to do that just because you're upset. It's called being an adult, and adults walk away. Apparently, he was, like I said, he was screaming and yelling at them. So he got his point across. I don't know why he felt the need to throw a sandwich at him. Apparently, he did lose his job. He was employed by the DOJ, I believe, Department of Justice, I believe. Some department, and he was fired. So that's good. I hope next job he gets is at Subway. He could be the Subway spokesman at this point. Or some other menial job that serves no purpose other than to keep him from living on the streets. But yeah, he was Sean Dunn, was found not guilty of assault because it was only a sub he threw at the police officer. So it doesn't matter. That's acceptable behavior. That's acceptable behavior from an adult when they're upset. Throw things at police officers, and you'll get away with it. It's really that simple. Got these fools. They are protesting. Let me find the notes on this one. So many notes. So many notes. Oh, man. Where are we? Yep, here we go. There's these fools that don't want the guard to come into their cities because apparently their cities are fine and they don't need the extra help, even though the police are overwhelmed. And they need help rounding up illegal immigrants. Federal judge in Oregon on Friday issued a permanent, which he can't do, but that's another story entirely, permanent injunction barring the Trump administration from deploying the National Guard on the streets of Portland in response to protests against Trump's immigration policies. The Supreme Court's already made it very clear that judges can't override the president when it comes to certain things, and this being one of those things they can't override. They have that. A judge does not trump, excuse the pun, the president. It's that simple. Judges are not there to make policies. Judges are not there to, make, politics. They're there to enforce the law. And if it's not against the law, then there's nothing they can do about it. Unfortunately, there are too many judges that think they're God and that they have the final say in everything. This judge is going to be proven wrong. I'm sure this will be challenged by the Supreme Court. They're going to say, we've already covered this. You're not allowed to do that. So they'll strike it down and it'll be an illegal order. And it should be. He's not deploying the troops they're not troops. Look at that straight. He's not deploying the National Guard just willy-nilly. He's doing it because it needs to be done. These cities are out of control. He's not dispatching them to every city. He sent them to certain cities. And these certain cities they've gone to need the help. The police officers need the help. They're overwhelmed. And again, I don't know why we're getting back to the fact that enforcing the law is wrong. If you're here illegally, you need to leave. To say that people that are here illegally have not broken the law is an oxymoron. You're here illegally. You've broken the law. Even though you haven't committed a crime since then, you've still broken the law. You're here illegally and you need to leave. They have had decades to get right, to file paperwork, to start that process, to do things the right way. They've had times since Trump took office to do things, and they've chosen not to. Now, all of a sudden, they're victims. Well, I'm getting separated from my family. This is not right. No, what's not right is you're too stupid to pay attention to what's going on around you. And sometime in the last 20 or 30 years that you've been here, file for citizenship. You've decided not to because it's too much time, costs too much money. So, screw it. I'm just going to write off the taxpayers and get, welfare, food stamps, taxes, cash assistance, whatever it is they're getting. And then now all of a sudden, they've been caught. Now it's wrong. Now they need time. This is not fair. What's not fair is giving you 30 years and you giving a thumb in your nose at us and not doing the right thing. That's what's not fair. I don't feel sorry for these people. I can't. Now, this is different. If Trump tried to enforce this like last month, all of a sudden and gave no warning, then yeah, maybe they'd have a legitimate gripe like, hey, this is not fair. I wouldn't go so far as say it's not fair. Maybe, they need to give us more time. Maybe I could understand at that point. But right now, at this stage of the game, they've had decades to do the right thing, and they've chosen not to. And also blame the Democrats for that, too, because they've never made it an issue. Like, hey, if you're illegally, you really need to get the paperwork started. You need to get that process started and become a citizen. They've never done that. I blame religious leaders who've told people you don't have to do that. It's no one in God's eyes. We're all this. That's great. The same people who do that will scream, separation of church and state. I blame those people for what's going on because rather than say, hey, do the right thing, we'll help you. We'll have people sponsor you where it needs to be done, but we'll get it done. Instead of doing that, they've decided, hey, don't obey the law, ignore it, do what you want to do, and never reminding them that, hey, that someday that bill may come due. You may have to put up or shut up. So libs and religious leaders, not all religious leaders, the ones I'm talking about, everybody knows, thank you. This is all on you. You have a lot to explain to these people. They should be coming to you and not screaming at Trump or this administration. They should be screaming at you saying, hey, why don't you tell me about this? Why didn't you help me? Why did you just tell me to ignore it? That's not right. I'm here because of you. This is going on with my family because of you. But it just seems that Democrats are like Teflon. No matter how much shit you throw at them, it all slides off and they come away smelling clean. But if you have an IQ above 2, you know exactly why we're here and who brought us here. It was them. Democrats, liberals, just mouth breathers that really don't care about anybody else. Let's make it perfectly clear. They don't care about illegal immigration. They just care about looking morally superior to everybody around them. With their little cliche, little clever sayings. Nobody's illegal. Borders are, not real. Stupid stuff like that every other country in the world adheres to, but we shouldn't because it makes them feel bad. These people don't open their doors to illegal immigrants. They don't go, hey, come stay with me while you're looking for a place to live. They don't feed them. They don't clothe them. They don't give them their money. Like I talked about last week, it's all fine and dandy as long as it's not coming out of their pocket. Then they're all for everything to help people. The second they got to pay that bill, then it's a different story. Then they're not so gung-ho about it. It's not so important to help them. They're not in the front of the crowd screaming, yelling, carrying their stupid little signs. Then they kind of drop to the back and get kind of quiet. It's because like I said, they don't care about these people. They really don't. No, okay. 99.9% of the people who are out there screaming and yelling about this don't care. Less than 1% maybe legitimately do care about these people and want to help. But they're getting overshadowed by the idiots who are trying to be, morally superior to everybody because I'm out here fighting for these people because nobody's illegal. Borders are just, a man-made concept. There's no real border. Show me on a map where there's border. This is all this stupid stuff. So there's people out there that really care, and that's great. Those people I kind of respect. The rest of them I don't. I know why you're out there. I know why you're doing what you're doing. I know why you're saying what you're saying because you want to feel important. Because mommy and daddy didn't show you enough attention growing up. This is how you get to become important. You become an attention whore, and you do all sorts of stupid stuff. That doesn't help people. What you're doing is not helping. And that's what I don't understand. They can't be that dumb to realize they're not helping anybody. They have to realize they're hurting people. At some point, they got to realize this is not helping anything. I'm making matters worse. I'm taking jobs away from Americans. I'm forcing the housing market to go up, job pay to go down. I'm to blame for this, and I need to stop. But that'll never happen because we're assuming that liberals will one day realize that they're not God and that they're not always right and that they're wrong, that they're fallible. They're human beings and they're no better than anybody else. And they never will admit that. But yeah, they're hurting people. They're hurting more than they're helping. And you know how the saying goes, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And we're seeing that right now. Now, this one, as soon as I bring it up, I'm sure we're going to be able to hear liberals' heads like exploding in the distance. I think I love it. Students in elementary and middle schools in some states will get a new lesson on safety, what to do if they find a firearm. They'll learn firearm safety, which I think is incredible. Firearms are a tool. That's all they are. No different. I mean, a little different than a hammer and a screwdriver, but the same principle. You use them to accomplish a task. Hunting, home defense, things like that. There's nothing to be scared of when it comes to a gun. It's an inanimate object. It cannot act on its own. It doesn't load itself. It doesn't prime itself. It doesn't pull its own trigger. It doesn't discharge on its own. That has to be done by somebody holding it. And I think most people are scared of guns, like AR-15s are all scared of them because they don't understand what they are. You always fear what you don't know. And if you don't know what a gun is, an AR-15 looks very intimidating. It's scary. It's got all the stuff on it. Look, it's there just to kill people. Oh, my God. I think this is great. I think kids learning about guns is awesome. Nowhere in here does it say they're going to be shooting guns or holding guns, so these people need to relax. They're just going to learn, like in the picture, the parts of the firearm. I think that's great. I see no problem with that at all. I think it's helpful. I think there's like 3 million guns in this country or something like that, some crazy number. So the odds of these kids seeing a gun are pretty good. Finding a gun are pretty good. So it's good to know what to do if you find one. There's no problem with that. I don't know why anybody would try to make that a thing. Like, kids don't need to know that. And there's people fighting it. The good thing is if you don't want your kids to have any knowledge of guns, you can opt them out of these lessons, apparently. They're not mandatory. Arkansas, Tennessee, and Utah are the first states to enact laws that require public schools to teach children as young as 5 the basics of gun safety and how to properly store guns in the home. Only Utah's law allows students to opt out of the lesson if requested by parents or guardians. Again, it says nowhere in there that they're going to be handling guns. It says nowhere in there they're going to be shooting guns. I don't even think it says in there they're actually going to see a real gun. They're going to like in the picture, it's going to be on a screen. And there's nothing wrong with that. And if you think there's something wrong with it, that's great. Tell me why. There's the chat. Put into the chat why you think it's wrong. I don't. I've read the articles. I grew up with guns. My father was a police officer. There was guns in this house all the time. No one ever got shot. And we weren't scared of guns because we knew about them. My father showed us what they were and taught us how to use them. So when we were little kids, we never went in his room to go look at his gun because we've seen it. It was no longer a mystery to us. We've shot it. We handled it. We loaded it. We watched him clean it. We didn't care anymore. The mystery was gone. And that's why kids get in trouble with guns, because they're kept away from them. It's taboo. Like, don't go near the gun. Don't touch it. And when they can, they do. This will take that away from them. They'll no longer be interested. Like, oh, wow, okay, I know about that. We learned about it in school. I don't need to go look at it. I'll go outside and play football now. So I think this is a good thing. I don't see anything bad coming of this, and I hope more states pick this up, but we know they won't. I live in Maryland, and this will never happen in Maryland, ever in a million years. No matter what, they will never allow that to happen, because guns need to remain scary to people. Because if they're scary, the laws to ban them are easier to pass if people are afraid of them. And like I said, you fear what you don't know, so they're not going to teach kids about this. So when they get old enough to be in politics or vote, they'll be scared of guns because they don't know anything about them. That's what is supposed to happen. So yeah, it would be Arkansas, Tennessee, and Utah. They're the first states that will enact the laws that require schools to teach children as young as 5. So I guess that'd be what? Kindergarten? 5 years old, they start learning about it in kindergarten. That's great. I mean, if they can teach kids that they can be any sex they want and use any bathroom they want in kindergarten, why can't they teach them this? I think this is more useful than the other crap they're trying to push down their throats. This actually has some relevance in the real world. Changing your name from Ryan or Ronald to Rihanna or something stupid like that is make believe. It doesn't work. So this is good. This is based in fact. And any knowledge is good knowledge. I think this will help a lot of people. It'll take the fear out of a lot of people. They won't be afraid of guns. Kids won't be scared of it. There won't be accidental shootings because now they'll know what to do if they find the gun. Again, it's a win-win. I see no problem with it. I don't even see a problem with it. Like if they get to high school and they actually let them shoot guns, I think that would be acceptable. I mean, we need to stop being so afraid of everything in this country. Not us, the liberals. They need to stop being afraid of everything. It's an inanimate object. They're there. Guns will be here forever. You might as well learn what they are and how to use them because they're not going anywhere. They've been here for centuries. They're going to be here for centuries. Just learn about them. And just because you learn about them doesn't mean you have to have one. It's really that simple. So relax, liberals. It's all good. And at the bottom here, of course, we're throwing up news of the day and the week. Scrolling through, let's see what we got. We got Trump administration demands states undo full SNAP payouts. Morris, Trump targeting meat monopolies to lower prices. That's good. Infant botulism in 10 U.S. states linked to formula being recalled. That's horrible. Botulism is not good for little kids. Not good for adults. U.S. grounds MD-11 cargo planes. Yeah, did you see that big plane crash? That was horrible. I mean, I saw the video. It's wow. It was bad. And 11 people died, I believe. Israel confirms its received remains of a soldier killed in Gaza in 2014. Well, it's nice of them to come home, and we'll talk about that on this a little bit later. Dangerous cold wave to hit Great Lakes. Winter's here. That's just how it is. It gets cold in the winter. Why is everybody shocked every time winter rolls? Oh, it's going to be cold. It's supposed to be. I'd be worried if it weren't. But that's just me. So that's the breaking and interesting news. I hope you all enjoyed it as much as I do finding it. Because I spend a couple of days during the week looking for stuff and then bring it up. And of course, when I get it up, by the time I talk about it, it's old. So I apologize for that. That's why you got to watch the Pulse on Wednesday. Because then we get all the new stuff. We all talk about it before it becomes old when I get it. And then when I get it, it's like, oh, they already talked about this. This guy's a putz. But I'm not butts. We all know that. So I talked about it last Sunday, and I wanted to talk about it again because it's that important. Um, in Africa, there is a true genocide going on. It's not some make believe one Palestine's trying to say Israel's doing, or other talking heads and idiots in this country are claiming there is no genocide in Israel. There is a genocide in Africa. Um, I think to date there's been 7,500 Christians killed since January, simply because they're Christian, not because they're fighting or there's a war, because they're Christian. Malnourished and dehydrated people are crawling through the desert on their elbows and knees in constant terror of being caught by the fighters from Sudan's paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, RSF. Humanitarian organizations have warned, but have done nothing. No one's done anything. There's no news coverage on this because Greta Thunberg's not gone down there. The movie stars aren't talking about it because they're more concerned with the fake genocide going on in Palestine, where there's a war, so people are going to die. Unfortunately, people die in war, and that's what's going on. There's no war going on in these places in Africa. These are just Muslims hunting down and killing Christians because they're Christian. The religion of peace is killing people because they don't worship their God. And that's the story. Whenever you go down in the Middle East or in Africa, people being killed by Muslims. For the most part, wherever Islam goes, death and destruction follow. Nothing good comes of them coming to a country or being in charge of a country. Again, look at Europe. It's falling off those countries. England, France, Norway. They are all doing horrible because of Muslims. It's really that simple. No other reason, no other cause. It is because of Muslims. And it's going on in Africa where they're killing people wholesale simply because they're Christian. Simply because they don't worship Allah. And it's supposed to be okay because it's Islam. We don't want to talk about Islam. We don't want to besmirch them. We don't want to talk about them. They're allowed to do what they want to do. Yes, and the man behind the scenes has just posted to me referring to Boko Haram group. They have killed over 100,000 Christians since 2009, and they've burned 18,000 Christian churches in that same time frame. We need to start taking our attention off of Palestine and let them. They started the war. They're getting their ass kicked. That's how it goes. Sorry to hear about your bad luck. Do what Israel asks you to do so the war stops, and turn it down to Africa where these people are doing nothing more than going to church and being killed. Like I told you last Sunday, there were 70 of them that were beheaded in the church. Men, women, and children. They don't care. Islam is a horrible religion, and I'll say it. There may be some practitioners that don't subscribe to the zealots. I haven't heard any of them on the news condemning anything that's going on. I haven't heard them post anything online saying this is horrible. Islam is not what this is. They need to stop. I haven't heard that. But that's what's going on in Africa, and it needs to stop. Crawling to escape slaughter, people flee Sudan, paramilitary groups on their hands and knees. These people are frightened. Obviously, I mean, why would you crawl through the desert if you weren't scared? You're getting away. You're trying to get away from something. So while we're here listening to the idiots in our country condemn Israel for a non-genocide, there's a real genocide going on. Like I just told you, since 2009, 100,000 people have died, at least. And those numbers probably aren't accurate because they're not giving us true numbers down there. We're never going to know for sure. I guarantee it's a lot more than that. And like I said, the thing going on in Israel is a war. They were attacked, so they're defending themselves. These people in churches aren't picking fights with people. They're not going to church to try to start a fight. They're going to church to worship Jesus, mind their own business, and Muslims come in and kill them. I think the other day I think it was the same group, the Rapid Support Forces, broke into a hospital and killed everybody in the hospital because they were Christian. I'm not making any of this up. You can find it all online. All the news sites, well, not all of them, because they're not really carrying it, covering it, or they give it like, on page 30, right below like, Home Depot sales, they might talk about it, but they're not giving it the attention they give to Israel, which should tell you all you need to know about the media. All you need to know about all these anti-Semites that are running their pie holes. They're not worried about the real stuff. They're trying to manufacture stuff. People are being beheaded, but they're just worried about Israel winning a war. I don't know what's going on with people. I don't know what's going on with this world. Rebels post videos of mass killings in Darfur as the world watches. I didn't hear Mark Rufio talk about that. I didn't hear it. What's it? Javier, what's his name? The has-been actor. Didn't hear him running his mouth about that. Didn't hear Greta Thunberg running her pie hole about any of this. None of those famous people are talking heads on a vast majority, because I'm sure there are people talking about it, but the vast majority of them aren't saying a word about it because they're focused on Israel, while these people in Africa at church are being murdered. They're not worried about it, because if it's Muslims doing the killing, it's not that big of a deal. If it's Muslims being killed by non-Muslims, then it's horrible and the world has to react and defend them. If Muslims are killing Muslims, it's like, what do you expect? So this is not going to get the coverage it should. These people have been dealing with this for decades, or since 2009 at least, and probably more than that. There's no signs that it's going to stop. I mean, Trump finally said something, I think last week, that if it doesn't stop, he's going to end it. He's going to stop it. And I hope he does. He shouldn't wait. These people need help. It's their own governments that are doing this. So their government's not going to help them. The government's responsible for half the crap that's going on in Africa. Those countries change presidents every 20 minutes down there. There's no stability. They're all dictators. Very few countries down there have a solid government for the people. It's all who can buy off the military quicker, and then they can take power, and then they keep it till the next person could spend more money on buying the military and take over. It's like an insane asylum. And these people have no choice. They have nowhere to go. That's their home, and we should be doing everything we can to help them. If anything, this is where I think the military should go down. This is murder, the mass murder by military. We should at the very least, park ships off their coast too. Let them know, hey, this stuff's not going to work. And if it's a landlocked country, do a couple flyovers, a little show of force, something to let them know, hey, we're watching. You all need to stop this. We're not going to sit here back and let you kill men, women, and children. We're not going to let you use rape as a weapon. This is going to end, and it's going to end it when we choose. You're not going to know when it's going to happen. You're just going to wake up dead one morning. We need to put our foot down on there. Let Israel alone. That's winding down. Thank God. That's winding down. Hamas has finally realized they have no chance of winning, so they're starting to acquiesce and bring people back, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But right now, this is where we need our focus to be. Diplomacy is not going to work. These people are strong-armed dictators and aren't going to listen to diplomacy. They think they're the strongest men in the world, and they're going to do what they want to do, and we can't stop them. Yeah, we can, and we need to show them that we can stop them. The whole world needs to get involved with this. This is horrible. I don't know what the world is waiting for. Why are we not saying anything about this? Why are we focused on a non-genocide? And I know why, because it's the Jews. Anytime someone can attack Jews, the anti-Semites come pouring out with their little tidbits of information and their facts and all their little sayings, and they spew them out on people that don't really care to listen to them, because this is their time to shine. They get to come out of the basement to go in the sun for a little while. Mom will let them leave the house while she's making their Hot Pockets and Kool-Aid, and they can go bask in the glory of anti-Semitism and scream and yell. We need to ignore them and get to where the real genocide is in Africa. Nigeria is the capital of Christian martyrdom today. More than 7,000 Christians, 7,000, more than, have been killed in 2025 alone. Remember, ISIS killed around 5,000 Christians in Iraq and Syria during their reign of terror as well. So more than 7,000. And I'm pretty sure they don't mean like 7,001. It's horrible. And let's look at the picture. This is what they have to deal with every day if you're a Christian in Africa. You live in fear. In most countries in Africa. I'm sure there's some countries in Africa that aren't like this. Like I said, the vast majority of countries in Africa have dictators, but there's other countries that don't. I can't think of one off the top of my head, but I'm sure there are a couple of them. I'm not an African historian or scholar. I don't know much about it. I just know that this crap has been going on for decades. Christians have been beheaded, raped, and killed because they worship a cross and they worship a carpenter. And that upsets the Muslims because we all know Islam is not about peace and inclusion. It's about domination. It's about being in charge and keeping power no matter how they do it. I mean, name one Muslim country that's not oppressive. I mean, in most Muslim countries, women can't even drive. They can't go to school. They can't go into public unless they're with a male family member. They got to keep their face covered. I mean, what about that religion appeals to anybody? I'm sure if you ask the women that are in Muslim countries that know about the outside world and know how women are everywhere else, they probably don't want to be treated like livestock. Don't want to be treated like property. Nobody would. But in Islam, that's how it is. Islam's a violent religion. Read the Quran. It talks about executing and embarrassing non-believers and charging them attached to pray to somewhere else. I mean, and what am I thinking? Iraq or Iran. Go to Iran. How many churches do you think are in Iran? 0. How many synagogues do you think are in Iran? 0. How many synagogues or how many mosques are in Israel? I think 1,000. They're everywhere. There's no country except Japan and Poland, because they're smart, have banned Islam. But every other country allows it. They allow everybody. In Muslim countries, it's just Islam. They don't let anybody else practice their religion. But we're supposed to be okay with this. The media is okay with this. These idiots in Hollywood are okay with this. The morons on podcasts are okay with this. Muslims are, Islam's a great religion. No, it's not. It's not. Show me where it's a great. Show me one country that's Islamic, that people have freedom, that they don't have to adhere to strict Sharia law, that aren't executed for stupid things. Show me that country, and then maybe I'll change my thinking. But until then, I don't believe that. I believe it's an oppressive, medieval, dark ages religion that's bent on world domination at any cost. And again, over 7,000 Christians killed in Nigeria in the first 220 days of 2025. That's ridiculous. And just for you math people, 7,000 divided by 220, that's 31 people a day are killed. 31 Christians a day have been killed since January. 31 people for no other reason other than they're Christian. That's it. And it's not just men, it's men and women, children. Muslims aren't particular about who they kill. They just, if you don't pray to Allah, they'll kill you, or they'll rape you, then kill you. And probably knowing those animals, not necessarily in that order. But they're killing everybody, and it's got to stop. The world needs to stop. We need to stop playing around. We need to stop worrying about how we're looked at. And this is as individuals. Islam is a bad religion. Overall, in general, it's a bad religion. And I'll say that. I can't be the only one that says this. We all have to stand up and go, look, Islam needs to change. And if the way we're seeing it is not how it's supposed to be, well, then start acting like how it's supposed to be. Because the way you're doing it now is wrong, and we're going to stop you. And you can call it, Islamophobia. You can call it racism. You can call it whatever you want. We're calling stopping barbarians who are beheading and raping women and children and killing people simply because they don't worship the same God. We're calling it justice. And we don't care anymore that you think we're Islamophobic or we're racist. Don't care. You need to stop, or we're going to stop you. Like Trump said, we need to stop this because it's spreading. It's not centralized. It's spreading into Europe, Scandinavia. Well, it's always been in Africa. It's going into Africa. It's here in Dearborn, in these major cities. We need to stop it. We need to be like Poland, Japan, and I think China too. They don't let Muslims into the country. You can't come in. They don't allow mosques. They don't allow them to be built. It's what we need to start doing. And it's horrible because I'm all for freedom of religion, but I'm also all for, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And Islam and that are diametrically opposed. That doesn't jive with Islam. Those two don't get along. And if it comes down to it, I'll live with the fact knowing that we pushed out a religion of our country to help other religions and help people have a good life. I'll live with that. And if I got to stand tall before the man and explain why I was for it, I'll explain to him. And I hope he understands. We just can't sit back and let a religion play both sides of the fence. I'm a victim. Oh, we're defending ourselves. I'm a victim. Not anymore. You're raping women as a weapon. We're done. End of discussion. You're beheading children. We're done. We're done. You're done. And we should get hey, you've got a week. We're going to give you a week. Straighten your shit up. Tighten it up. Start doing the right thing around the world, or we're going to start making you do the right thing. I can't imagine. I can't imagine what it's like to be in a country where you're afraid to practice your religion because another religion will kill you. And I'm not saying religions, there's no religion that has clean hands. But I'm talking about this time, this century. I'm talking about now, not AD or BC. I'm talking about right now. And right now, the biggest problem we have and have had as far back as I can remember is Islam. And again, I'm not condemning the entire religion. I'm not condemning all the practitioners of Islam. I'm talking about the ones that are in Africa, killing folks. I'm talking about the ones in Israel who are killing folks simply because they're Jewish. I'm talking about the ones in Europe. I'm talking about the ones in this country. I'm talking about the ones wherever they are that will not assimilate into the country they're at and demand that we assimilate with them. That's who I'm talking about. And it's time we stop treating them with any type of respect because they don't respect us. And if you practice Islam and you agree with me, speak up. Start saying stuff like, hey, that crap that's going on in Africa is not right. I'm a Muslim and I don't agree with it at all. And I think the people who do that need to be held accountable. Start to speak up. Start policing your own. If you all start doing that, maybe the rest of the world won't have to deal with all the bullshit that comes from that religion. But I'm not holding my breath. I don't think that'll happen in my lifetime. Maybe in my son's lifetime. Maybe they'll start policing themselves and doing the right thing. But I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. And if we don't do something to help these people, it's going to spread like a cancer. It's like a bully. They only bully people as long as they can. The minute you stand up to a bully, 9 times out of 10, they back down because they don't want to bully someone that'll fight back. And I understand. Don't get me wrong, praying for people and, sending them relief. It's great. And if that helps them, that's awesome. But if you're only doing it to make yourself feel good, stop, because that's not the right thing to do. If it legitimately helps these people in Africa, that's great. Continue it. I put down at the bottom that if you want to help, you can go to globalchristianrelief.com and read their page. I read a couple of relief organizations, and that one seems to be the most legitimate to me. Again, do your own research. Don't take my word for it. I just felt when I read it that I felt more comfortable if I were going to send money. That's who I would send it to. But make sure their mission is something you agree with. If they're just sending clothes and food over, how is that helping anybody? We're going to give you a brand new suit, so when they cut your head off, you can be buried and look nice? I mean, you need to give money to a relief organization that's actually trying to get people out, to pull them out of that country, or working to help change the laws, things like that. I know everything helps, but there comes a point where you got to act. And sending over clothes and school books and stuff like that is not going to help. And I don't mean to sound like a pessimist. I'm just a realist. I don't remember once ever hearing or reading that a school book stopped the bullet or a school book kept people from getting their heads cut off. The people that need the school book education are the Islamists, but they're not going to read them. So you're sending books to people who already know what's going on, that already have the intelligence, the ones that are victims. It's not going to help them. What you need to do is get them out, protect them in some way, shape, or form. And that's just my opinion. And I'm not knocking anybody that sends money to help feed them. That's great. Don't stop because I think that's not helpful. Ignore me. You do you. But again, it's globalchristianrelief.com. You can go to their website, read about them. And I'm not affiliated with them. They haven't talked to me. I haven't talked to them. Again, I've looked at a couple of relief organizations, and that's the one that stood out to me that I read and I liked. So that's why I put it up. Help them help these people. I mean, look at that. 7,000. It's 31 people a day, or 32 if you round up. 32 people a day have been killed in Nigeria because they're Christians since January 2025. 32 people a day. Men, women, and children. Not just men. Men, women, and children. So again, that's help. To help, go to theglobalchristianrelief.com and see what you can do to help them. And again, do your research before you send anybody money. Please don't just take my word for it. I want to reiterate that. Please look into this organization for yourself. And if you don't like them, I'm sure you can find another one that you like, but do something. We just can't sit back anymore and allow Islam to run rampant over other countries and hope and pray that something will stop them.
America's Pulse Network. The mainstream media is bought and paid for. The truth is twisted to fit their agenda. But America is waking up because podcasts are the future for trusted media. Welcome to the America's Pulse Network. It is a network built by patriots that upholds the Constitution. The America's Pulse Network stands for God, truth, and the America First movement. There is no corporate propaganda, no government spin, just real news, real talk, and real voices fighting for faith, freedom, and the future of this great nation with common sense. Here are some of America's Pulse Network podcasts. Alexandra Levine Live, hosted by Alexandra Levine. Jersey Shore Podcast, hosted by Damon Galdo. The Conservative Corner, hosted by Seth Eisenberg. APN's The Pulse, hosted by Alexandra, Damon, and Seth. So tune into America's Pulse Network on the following social media platforms: X/Twitter, Rumble, Truth Social, Facebook, and YouTube. Join the revolution. Because the pulse of America beats for God and country. America's Pulse Network is for faith, family, freedom, and truth.
So again, we got, I don't know if you all saw the show on last Tuesday, November 4th. I was in New Jersey with Damon Galdo and Damon Sherrod. We did an election night special in Blackwood or Backwood, New Jersey. I think it's Blackwood, at Skeeter's Pub. Nice place, really big place, bigger than I thought. I had a lot of fun, met some really good people, and I'm glad I got to go up there. It was a drive. It was almost 3 hours. And then when I left, it was Blackwood. I'm sorry, it was Blackwood, New Jersey. Thank you, Damon. I had fun. Again, I met some pretty cool people. I got to meet both Damons for the first time face-to-face. That was fun. Good guys. I wish I had taken some pictures of the setup Damon had for the show, the computers and all that. It was really impressive. A lot goes into that when they travel to do something. It's not just, hey, we'll get this set up in 10 minutes. And have that. And I think Damon told me it took 3 or 4 hours to set up. Excuse me, got something in my throat. 3 or 4 hours just to set up for the show. And then I would say about an hour and a half to take down. But yeah, it's a lot goes into it. And I didn't realize how much until I got to see it. So again, it was very impressive. I had a lot of fun. Skeeter's is a really cool place out in Blackwood, New Jersey. If you're in that area, go check them out. Really good drinks, good food, and really good staff. Very friendly. But yeah, Damon Galdo has his own show. He does it twice a week, I believe, with a radio show and his show. Then we have Alexandra Levine has her own show twice a week. Again, very smart lady, has good shows. She's a fellow tribesman, so you got to watch her just because of that. And then we do the Pulse on Wednesdays. And that's where we all get together, like I said, and talk about stuff going on during the week. And then we also have a special guest, which is usually Elena Barbera. Sometimes we have Tim Fazenbaker, but he's been running for county council in Baltimore County, so he's been kind of busy, which is understandable. But apparently he should be coming back soon, so he'll be back on the show. Then we have other people that come on from time to time to help talk about current events and topics of the day. And that's on Wednesdays at 8 to about 9:30-ish, usually 9:15, but a little bit longer. And of course, you're with me, Seth Eisenberg, on the Conservative Corner. Sunday, we go from about 7 to 8:30. And I could talk a lot longer if I want to. The funny thing is when I set this show up, I'm like, man, what am I going to talk about? I'm like putting pictures in here. I'm trying to think what I do. I got notes. I'm like, man, I got to fill like an hour and a half. And then when it comes to like 8:30, I'm like, well, geez, I still got stuff I want to talk about. So it's a labor of love. I have fun setting it up, and I hope you enjoy it. Hope you enjoy all the shows or all the podcasts on the America's Pulse Network. A lot of effort goes into them, and we don't do it for ourselves. We do it for you. So I hope you enjoy it. All 70 that watch my show, that's awesome. And the ones that watch it after, I hope you enjoy it. And that's a question. Is it because it's Sunday night, people can't come on and watch it? Is it the time? If I wanted to get more people live, do you think I should change the time or something like that? I don't know. I'm asking. Let me know. You can chat, send me a chat or send me an email if you think a different time would attract more people. I mean, I don't mind talking to 5 or 6 people. That's fine with me. I don't care. But if you think we could get more people, if we do a different time, just put it in the chat or send me a text message and we'll go from there. So in the last segment, we talked about Islamists in Africa murdering Christians wholesale, and no one's saying a word about it. And that's been going on since 2009. And since the beginning of this year, 7,000 people, Christians have been murdered. That worked at about 32 people a day, men, women, and children. They're raping women. They're killing children. They're burning churches. They're beheading people, all because they're not Muslim. Inexcusable. It's horrible. And something needs to be done about it in Africa immediately. We can't put it off another week, another day. Something needs to happen to protect those people. Now we're going up to the Middle East, where it's the reverse, where the Muslims are claiming to be the victims. And, everyone's picking on us, woe's us. We're just minding our own business, and big bad Israel just attacked us for no reason, forgetting October 7th, because that had nothing to do with it. It was just Israel being Israel, apparently, and just starting a war for no reason. And then you have idiots saying that the response was not proportional, and I call a person who says that a fucking idiot. Because if you attack my house with rocks, I'm not going to come out and throw rocks at you. I'm going to come out and shoot at you. It's that simple. I don't have to match your force if you attack me. I have to use overwhelming force to make sure that you don't attack me again. And that's how the way the world goes. That's Mother Nature. That's nature. That's how things happen. If 2 lions fight, they don't just keep it friendly. One dominates the other. They don't stop because, well, it's not fair. I'm bigger. I'm stronger. I should give you a chance. No, that's not how things work in the real world. And Gaza is finding that out now. Hamas is learning that, Foxtrot Alpha, Foxtrot Oscar. They're finding it out firsthand. And I, for one, will say every country has every right to defend themselves any way they see fit. There's no rule like you can only respond this way, and there should never be a rule like that. I think Israel's been very tempered in their response. Of course, you've got the Gaza Health Ministry, which is no different than Hitler's propaganda machine, saying, well, 60,000 civilians have been killed. The problem with that is they don't differentiate combatants from civilians. They lump them all together, so they can have these exaggerated numbers. So everybody's like, oh my God, Israel, they're killing people wholesale. The thing is, Israel doesn't take hostages and put them in tunnels and murder them or sexually assault them. Israel doesn't do that. Now, of course, you've got reports coming out now from Gaza saying, well, Israel's kept prisoners in prison and were sexually assaulted them. No, I don't believe any of that. I really don't. I think that's just the Muslims' way of trying to deflect the crap they're doing to people, but saying, we're not doing it, they're doing it. I don't believe that at all. I don't think Israel's sexually assaulting people in their prisons. I don't think Israel's executing people somewhere in the street. I don't believe any of that. And if it's a true, show me. I don't want to hear what you saw or what someone told you or your nieces, nephews, aunts, uncles, roommates, cousin, nieces, gardener heard. Facts. I want facts. Don't care about your feelings. Nobody cares about your feelings except your family. I, for one, don't care about your feelings. I want to hear facts. If you say Israel's doing that, show me. Show me facts. Until then, all you're doing is this, and it's just feelings and emotion. Until I see facts, I don't believe you. How do I know the Gaza ministries, the health ministry is lying? Because they've changed the number, 5 or 6 times? So I know they're lying. They can't even keep their lies straight. again, I don't know what's going on with this world. It's like the good people have decided to sit down and not show up anymore. Like, we don't care. It doesn't matter anymore. I'm checking out. That's how I'm taking it. I'm trying to find notes on this next one. Of course, I can't find them because that's just how things go. Okay, got it. This was an IDF soldier who was killed in Gaza in 2014. Hamas refused to release his body so he could be properly buried. Who knows where they kept him? But Israel's confirmed that the remains of his body has been returned by Hamas. And again, confirmed that he was killed in 2014. And his body has been held by Hamas for the last 11 years. His remains are the only ones held in Gaza since before the latest war between Israel and Hamas. Hamas said it found the body of the soldier, Hadar Goldan, in a tunnel in the enclave's southernmost city of Rafah on Saturday. They just found him. Been 11 years. They've been running around these tunnels forever, but they just found him in this one tunnel a couple days ago. They'd never seen him. Does anybody believe that? I mean, Hamas is a terrorist organization that should be exterminated like insects. Do you believe anything they say? I guess if you live in Hollywood, you do, because that's their hero. All these movie stars worship Hamas. He was killed on August 1st, 2014, 2 hours after a ceasefire took effect, ending that year's war between Israel and Hamas. So for some reason, he was in the tunnel after the ceasefire and was killed. How was he killed? We'll never know, because Hamas will probably tell you, he tripped and shot himself in the back 7 times or some crap like that. But after a ceasefire, an hour after ceasefire, he died apparently. And they just found his body in the tunnel after 11 years. I don't believe it. I think they've had his body. I think they kept it for a bargaining chip at some point in the future. And now that they're getting their asses kicked in this war, they're going to do whatever they can to kind of staunch the bleeding. And they're going to go, oh, look, we found this guy. We're trying to be good. Here, we'll work with you. So for 11 years, those animals have kept his body so his parents couldn't say goodbye and put him away respectfully. But they just found him after 11 years in the same tunnels they've been in for the last, 2 years fighting. But yeah, that was a tunnel they'd never used in 2 years. And all of a sudden they went down there and like, oh my God, look, there's a guy down here. That's crazy. How did that happen? Yeah, I don't believe it either. This young man, I'm trying to find out, was captive and I think he was taken October 7th and released recently. He was in the tunnels, of course, with Hamas, which is not where anybody wants to be. Apparently they sexually assaulted him over months, beat him, starved him, tortured him beyond that. And we're supposed to feel sorry for Hamas. We're supposed to, they're what are they called by resistance fighters. They're resistance fighters fighting the evil empire of Israel. That's what they want you to believe. His captor told him at the point that if he converted to Islam, of course he's Jewish, he would be given a lot of food and nobody would touch him. Berlasky refused and said, I knew in my head that it would never happen. I told the terrorist, I was born a Jew, I will die a Jew. Then his captor told him that he received a note from above instructing him to blindfold Berlasky. After a few days of being blindfolded, the captor also limited his bathroom breaks to 3 times a day at 9 a.m., 4 p.m., and 9 p.m. He said, I was holding my pee for hours. It was a nightmare, he recalled. Then they reduced his drinking water from 1 liter to half a liter a day. At that point, he would only receive one falafel ball per day and a little rice. The Palestinian Islamic Jihad, PIJ, tortured and beat him, not because of the Prime Minister Netanyahu or the National Security Minister Ben Gvir, but because he was a Jew. Former hostage Ron Blasey said in an interview with Hasnor, it's Channel 13, it's wrong to say they torture me because of Israel is provoking them in prisons. They only tortured me for one reason, because I am a Jew. That is why I got everything I got. Not because of Israel, not because of Netanyahu, nothing else. His captors significantly worsened his situation in March 2025 after the second ceasefire deal concluded. At that point, he was told that that more of the family members of the terrorists were being killed. The torture then became worse. Revealed his captors stripped him naked, starved him, and tied him up while sexually assaulting him. At this point, with tears in his eyes, he said, they stripped me of all my clothes, my underwear, everything. They tied me up while I was completely naked. I was torn apart, dying with no food. It was sexual violence. Its main purpose was to humiliate me. The goal was to crush my dignity, and that's exactly what he did. I prayed to God, please save me, get me out of this already. And just to save yourself, and you just say to yourself, what the hell is going on? Why is this happening to me? I mean, and I'm supposed to feel sorry for those people. I'm supposed to feel sorry because they invaded a country on October 7th and took, 251 hostages. I'm supposed to feel sorry for Gaza. Somewhere in my heart, I'm supposed to feel pity for them. They're rodents. They're scavengers. I would have not taken the ceasefire. I would have parking lotted and turned that whole country into glass. That would have done the world a favor. I mean, how do I know that these people are subhuman? Because other Muslim countries won't even allow them into their country. They refuse to allow refugees from Gaza into their country because they realize what trash that they are. Their own people don't even want to help them. That says all you need to know. I mean, they're raping this guy. They strangled babies to death. They threw kids in ovens. They shot women and raped them. I mean, how could anybody side with that group of people? How could you side with a country that elected those people to be in charge? How? How do you look at yourself in the mirror and go, I'm on the right side. I'm supporting the right people? How? What kind of low-life scumbag do you got to be to think that's the good guys? That Hamas and Gaza are the good guys? How much of a low-life? I mean, were you beaten by your family? I mean, what in your life traumatized you so bad that you believe that they're the good guys and that Israel's the bad guys? And you should be in a home somewhere being dissected like an animal to find out what makes you tick, so we know how to prevent that from happening to other people. But no, I don't get it. Why people allow it just upsets me that people would choose to defend Gaza, that there are people who would choose to defend the Nazis. There are people out there that say Hitler's their hero, that Hitler was the good guy, and we should have fought with him to continue with the concentration camps. And if they agree with it in Israel, they agree with it in Africa. They're saying that Islam is right. These people are not bad people. So if they're agreeing with them in Israel, they must agree with what they're doing in Africa. And that's what bothers me. What bothers me even more is these morons that say this have a following. People listen to them. People agree with them and espouse their beliefs to their friends. And then more people believe them. This is how bullshit starts. This is how it starts. Some lonely lunatic attention whore trying to get famous and trying to go viral or whatever starts spewing out hatred and anti-Semitism and racism, and again appeals to the lowest common denominator, stupid idiots, and they flock to him, and he becomes more important and bigger, has a louder voice, and before you know it, there's a problem. People are dying because of it. People are losing their homes. People are being assaulted. Horrible things start to happen when people like that go unchecked. Look throughout history. I'm not making it up. These people hide behind the law because they go out in public and spew this stuff, and they know no one's going to take a swing at them. or put a baseball bat across their mouth because they know it's illegal and they'll go to jail, and people don't want to go to jail. So they hide behind the law like cowards. They would never go into someone's home or private property where it's just them and these people and say the same things they say online or in public and private to these people because they know it'd be a different story. If it's just you and him and you hit the floor, does it really make a sound? How are the cops going to find out if it's just you and somebody else? At that point, it's anybody's story. It's he said, she said. So they're cowards, but they're not stupid because they know if they get in that situation, they're going to lose. They're going to get their teeth knocked out of their head at the very least. And again, I'm not saying violence is the answer. I'm just saying it's time to be just as assertive and pushy as they are. Even if you're not Jewish, even if you're not African, I don't care. That type of talk should disgust you at the very least, and at the most, frighten you. And like I said, it should frighten you because there's so many people that listen to it. So many disenfranchised, uneducated, inbred, knuckle-dragging mouth breathers that agree with anti-Semites, that agree with racism, that will go out and espouse it. Nazis, the neo-Nazis, the Klan, Black Lives Matter. These people are racist entities. They're racist organizations. Any racist organization has no place in a functioning, civilized society. But here we are, talking about trash and the people that listen to them. That's what should frighten you. That's what should keep you up at night, that these people are gathering followers more and more every day. And we're going to wake up one day and something horrible has happened or will happen. And we're all going to sit back and go, well, how did this happen? There were no warning signs. Yes, there's warning signs. Right now, they're on podcasts. They're on TV. They're everywhere. Run their cake holes. Listen. And when someone tells you who they are, believe them. These people are not lying. They've been hiding in the shadows, under rocks and gutters. This is their time to shine. They're hiding behind the Hollywood stars, the politicians. Muslims, they're out there in the front now because they've got backing. They've got the internet. They've got social media. So now they can, rather than reach 10 or 15 people in a bar, now they can reach hundreds of thousands of people instantly that agree with their bullshit, that have no compunction about killing people. Because we all know Muslims view Jews as pigs and swine that need to be exterminated and have very little, not much more respect for Christians. And there's people who support them, who support the Nazi party. And the funny thing is, some of these people who support the Nazis would have then been themselves swept up and put into concentration camps. They don't understand that. They think just because, I like them, that wouldn't have mattered. You were an inferior race, you're going. So that's what's really funny. These people think the Nazis were just all about killing Jews. They killed Jews. They killed retarded people. They killed homosexuals. They killed gypsies. They killed everybody that was not Aryan. That simple. They just picked on the Jews because they blamed them for World War I. Well, not for World War I. After World War I, the Jewish population in Germany thrived. And they were very clannish. They kept their money in their own neighborhoods, their own communities, and did their own things. And that pissed off the Germans because they couldn't figure out why can't we thrive and make a good living, but they can. Hitler jumped all over that and blamed them for all the economic problems in Germany. And then that blew into, hey, the rest of the world is picking on us. We're Germans, and it goes from there. I'm not a historian. I'm not an expert, but I know a little. So all this has to stop. We need to stop letting these people just exploit our laws and do horrible things. Of the 251 hostages taken by Hamas on October 7th, a total of 83 have been murdered. 168 hostages survived and returned or rescued. As of November 9th, 2025, the bodies of 4 deceased hostages, they weren't deceased, they were murdered. The bodies of 4 murdered hostages are still believed to be held in the Gaza Strip. And if you look at news reports, they never say the hostages were murdered, they died. died in captivity. They're trying to sanitize it. Here are some of the hostages that were killed. But they're not honest in the reporting. They didn't die. They were murdered. They weren't captives. They were hostages taken against the Geneva Convention. They're all rules of civilized society. You don't take civilians as hostages at all. You just don't do that unless, of course, you're an animal. And they took 125 people. I think maybe there's like 4 or 5 soldiers in that. And if you're a soldier, that's what you sign up for. And you can be taken. So figure 245 civilians, men, women, and children, were taken hostage, and 83 of them have died. And we all know about the ones that were shot in the kibbutzes, the women that were raped and murdered, the children that were strangled. I mean, all sorts of horrible things that these people did. And yet there are people out there that support it, that support Nazis, that support Muslim, that support Hamas. Again, you don't have to be Jewish or Christian to appreciate the fact that this is wrong and that somebody needs to do something. It doesn't have to be violent, but somebody needs to do something and stand up for these people. Tell these people, no, that's enough, stop. Don't care that your religion says this. Your religion is wrong. I would never be in a religion that told me I should kill other people because they don't worship the God I worship. I wouldn't follow any religion that told me that one religion is swine or pigs and should be slaughtered. I would never follow that religion. I would never follow a religion that's whole tenet is based on submission, like Islam. You were supposed to submit to Allah. You can choose Jesus. You can choose God, but you need to submit to Allah. Why would anybody want to be in that religion? Right off the bat, it's about oppression. You have no free will. It's not your choice. It's not, hey, do you choose to love me? It's you will love me or I'll kill you. And that's Islam in a goddamn nutshell. Submission, domination, nothing more. And it's got to be dealt with because they're dealing with us. Turn on the news, everywhere you go, they're dealing with us. And we're just sitting back. You got Islam, you got Muslims in politics, in Congress, and Senate. They shouldn't be there. They're not even natural born citizens. They should not be in D.C. They should not be representatives. You got the guy who's running for what? Mayor in Dearborn or something like that. Thank God he lost. But he was another Muslim from, where was he from? It'll hit me in a second. But he lost. And Ilma, whatever her name is, was up there campaigning for him and got upset when he wasn't elected. I think she blamed racism or Islamophobia. Because that's what they do. They try to beat you into submission with, calling you a racist. Like, oh, I don't want to be a racist. I'll vote for him. But thank God he lost. Somalia, where she's from. He was from Somalia. And he looked like he was half simple, to be honest with you. Looks like his father was also his brother. But he lost. We need to stop electing people who aren't natural born citizens to any position in our government. They have no stake in this country. They don't care about this country. They weren't born here. They have no history here. They should not be allowed. And I'm not just talking about Muslims. I'm talking about anybody. You could be a Buddhist from Tibet. If you weren't born here, you can't run. Sorry, it's not going to work. But the liberals will never let that happen. The Democrats will never let that happen because they know they vote for them because Democrats promise them everything. Of course, they're going to vote for them. Republicans say, no, you're not going to do that. No, there are rules we're going to follow. And they're not going to vote for them because they're being told no. Who wants to be told no? But yeah, we got to make some changes or this is just going to keep sliding down the toilet. And before we know it, we're going to be just like Paris. We're going to be just like England. We're going to be just like Scandinavia or Norway or, Sweden, where these Muslims are walking around the street, beating up women because they're not dressed properly, rioting in the streets, turning our streets and cities into dumps and horrible third world nations. Telling you, look what's going on in Europe. And it hasn't been going on that long and it's already that bad. We need to follow Poland's lead. We need to follow Japan's lead. We need to follow China's lead when it comes to immigration. If you are a Muslim, you are not welcome in our country. Get out. You will not be building a mosque in our country. Get out. If you look at the countries that don't allow Islam in, they're fine. Their cities aren't burning. People aren't being stabbed and beaten up because they're not following Islam. They have the right idea. Islam is the only religion that does that when they get into your country. Christians don't get to your country and then start beating up people because they're not following God. Jews don't get into your country and start beating up people because you're not following. They stick to themselves. and people complain, well, people come to my door and try to convert me to Christianity. Nobody's come to my door and try to convert me to Islam. I would be concerned about a man or a woman who says their belief in God and Jesus is steadfast and that's who they live for, that didn't try to convert me. That would concern me more. If you're out there pushing the word, that means you believe in it, and I can respect that. Does it get annoying? Yes, I'm not going to lie. But that's what they do. That's what people, when you believe in something that strong and it makes you that happy and you feel that good, you want to share it with everybody. And there's nothing wrong with that. And that should tell you about Islam. They're not that happy. They're not that great that they're Muslim. That's why they're not trying to convert people into it, because they know they can't. So they just dominate the country they go to and force people to become Muslim. Or you're born into it and you have no choice. That's why they don't come to your door. They don't come to your door because if a woman answers, they're not going to talk to her anyway. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. And people don't want to hear it, but this is a Christian nation. We were founded on Judeo-Christian beliefs. We weren't founded on Muslim beliefs. We weren't founded on Buddhist beliefs. We weren't founded on Taoists or any of that. Judeo-Christian. That's simple. And there's nothing wrong with that either. I don't know why everybody's, that's freedom of religion. It's freedom of, not freedom from. Big difference. And there's nothing wrong with a country founded on that. I mean, even if you don't believe in God and don't believe in Jesus and think Jews and Christians are worshiping some imaginary friend in the sky, if you live your life by the Bible and the Ten Commandments, how bad is your life going to be? It's a good moral compass. You don't kill people. You don't steal. You don't cheat on your wife. You don't lie. You honor your father and mother. What is so bad if you follow that? I think the Bible should be taught in school as a history book. It has the first recorded murder, the first recorded war. The first of everything is in that book. But no, liberals don't want that. They'd rather teach a kid that they can wear a dress and change their name from Mike to Michelle and go piss in the girls' bathroom and change with the girls. That's what's important to them, not facts, science fiction. And that's got to stop too.
Welcome to America's Pulse Network. This is APN's very own White House correspondent, Alexandra Levine.
This is so amazing and miraculous. We've never had a president in the history of our nation doing this. And we hope to God that he continues doing this forever and ever. Thank you. God bless you, everybody. And God bless President Trump.
And God bless you.
Hello, everyone. This is Alexandra Levine with the America's Pulse Network. I am the White House correspondent right here in the heart of D.C. as President Trump is celebrating 250 years of America and the military.
Subscribe and follow America's Pulse Network on the above social medias.
So that was Alexandra Levine, the White House correspondent. She also has her own podcast on the network, I believe twice a week. Got Damon, the Hammer has his show. And then again on Wednesdays at 8 o'clock, we all do the Pulse, where we all get together and talk about different things going on. With Elena Barbera most of the time. Every once in a while, she might not show up, but she's a staple of that show. And then we used to have Tim Fazenbaker, but he's running for Baltimore City Council. So we've, subbed in people in and out to take place for him. But apparently he should be coming back soon, which is great because I like Tim. He's a good guy. And he's just a good guy. He's a family guy. I enjoy talking to him. He's got a great sense of humor. He thinks I'm funny, so I kind of wary of a man that thinks I'm funny, but he's a good guy. And I hope he gets elected because he'll do Baltimore County good. It will do good to have him there. I firmly believe that he's going to be constituents first. I don't think anything else would matter to him. I mean, he lives in the county. He has a family, so he's going to be concerned and focusing on making the county better for everybody. Because if it's better for your family, it's going to be better for his family. So yeah, if you live in Baltimore County, you give him a hand. Vote for him, see if you can volunteer for him, donate. I mean, he does a lot of things, has a lot of, like, don't want to call them fundraisers, but has get-togethers where you can meet him. And again, he's very approachable. I've never once felt like I've bothered him when I'm talking to him, or that he feels like or acts like he has somewhere better to be. He's a good guy. And I don't get the politician vibe from him at all, which is important. I've met a couple of politicians that are like that. Tim Fazenbaker, very non-political, non-politician. Dan Cox, who ran for governor in Maryland, I know when you talk to him, he's the same way. You don't get that creepy, slimy politician vibe from him. He's a family guy too. Great people. Chris Burnett, I think he's been on the show before. Again, he's a Marine, officer in the Marine Corps, has a family, very non-politician feel to him. Great guy. They're all great men. And I'm not just saying, man, I'm sure there's women out there who are the same way. I just haven't talked to any of them. I mean, they're more than welcome to come on the show and talk, but I'm talking about who I know. Those three guys are just very good men. Very easy, very approachable. And they all have something in common. They're family guys. They're fathers. They have children. So I'm not saying that should be a prerequisite to run for office or a prerequisite to get your vote, but it should be up there. You can always judge a person by the way they treat their family. So there's that. And Damon Galdo, again, he's running for office, I think, next election cycle, I believe. Great guy, again, a family guy. So he's going to be really concerned with making sure everything's right for his family, which in turn will make sure it's right for your family. You can't help one without helping the other. So, yeah, again, family. And it has a lot to do with it. And that's why I think the libs and Democrats are all anti-family, because that's where the unity comes from. That's where the strength for people comes from, is from their family. That's where they draw from when they're feeling weak or low. They draw from their family. And that keeps them grounded to what's important. And that's why I don't think the libs like that. They like fantasy. Like, you can change your sex whenever you want to. You can be a boy one day, be a girl one day, and then you could be an antelope the next day. That's how they think. They have no sense of reality. And that's, again, not good. So the next segment is just pretty much grab bag of stuff. Things I found online that I thought were very interesting, or I thought that they were stuff that we needed to know about, and figured I'd share it with you. China aims to expand its power in the Pacific with its new Fujian aircraft carrier. Both China's previous aircraft carriers used a sky jump type system, which is unable to handle jet fighters carrying heavier loads or large support aircraft. So it was kind of like the end where it kind of slopes up like a ramp. That's how they used to launch their jets. This aircraft, the Fujian aircraft carrier, is the first aircraft carrier that uses an electromagnetic catapult. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with the catapult. We have a catapult that's steam driven. It hooks to the front landing gear of the jet and then pushes it off, like catapults it off the flight deck. They have one that uses electromagnets, so it doesn't have the block behind the wheel. It's the first one they've had. It also features the stealth fighter It could launch the carrier-based jets, the stealth fighter J-35, the heavy fighter J-15 Tango, and the early warning aircraft KG-600. Although the Chinese Navy is the world's largest navy, they have like 1,000 ships, I believe, but that also counts their non-combatant ships, like the spy ships and stuff like that. With its 11 aircraft carriers, the U.S. Navy is still considered the most advanced and most deadly. Hoorah. So, yeah, we need to be watching China. That's who we need to be keeping an eye on. They have their eye on Taiwan. I don't care what they say, and we should have our eye on them. That's where my concern lies in the West and the Pacific. That's where my concern is. Out in the East here, the East Coast, out that way, the Atlantic, there's really no Navy to speak of that we need to worry about. And if there's a Navy, they're an ally, so we don't need to worry about them. China, again, has the world's largest Navy, and they ain't an ally. We need to be very wary of what they're doing. We need to be aware, keep tabs on them. and we need to be ready to go because I can guarantee you, they are making plans for an invasion of Taiwan as we speak. I think I read somewhere that they told Trump that they will not invade Taiwan while he's in office. Whether that's true or not, I don't know, but that's what they said. I don't know why they would say that because now we know they're not, or maybe they're just saying that because they're going to be cool and not do it, and then next week they're going to invade Taiwan. But yeah, so we need to be aware of them. They are not. It's the largest and most advanced aircraft carrier China has. And also, it's big enough to challenge the world's largest navy, since it's the world's largest navy, it seeks to challenge U.S. dominance in the Pacific. It features electromagnetic catapults, like I said, that allows for aircraft launches with heavier payloads compared to the existing launch system. They are not playing around. They are in it to win it, and we need to respect that and know that. Because they're keeping tabs on us, I can guarantee you. Which is frightening because a billion people live there? Some good news. This should make you happy. This dried up prune has decided and made it very clear that she is not going to run for re-election, Nancy Pelosi. I will not be seeking re-election to Congress. With a grateful heart, I look forward to my final years of service as your proud representative. Pelosi, 85, sent the video to her San Francisco voters, interlaced with sweeping imagery of the Golden Gate Bridge, the Coit Towers, and other landmarks, as well as photos that captured her storied political career. She made history as the nation's first female Speaker of the House and served twice in that job and said she will not be seeking re-election. She also, where did I have that? Let me find it. I think she's amassed like $18 million while she's been in office. I believe that they make $200,000 a year. Somehow she's made millions, and not somehow, she's stolen it. Kickbacks, whatever you want to call it, because that's impossible to make that much money doing what she does. But former Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi and her husband Phil Pelosi have raked in $130 million in stock profits over the course of her congressional career. That's a return of 16,930% over nearly 4 decades representing California. Yeah, that seems legitimate. I don't think she's dishonest at all. I think she's just real lucky at the stock market. And her net worth is $400 million. 400, that's 400 million with an M, from being in public service. Yeah. If you believe that, I have swampland in Arizona I want to sell you real cheap. And I'm sure there's people out there who believe it. They think she's an honest person and she just lucked out, and that's how it works. I don't know if you heard about this. This was kind of crazy. This was down in Mississippi. Some monkeys escaped an overturned truck, and apparently they had like hepatitis and herpes and other diseases, and they escaped. One of them was shot and killed by a woman who said she feared for the safety of her children. Jessica Bond Ferguson said she was alerted Sunday by her 16-year-old son, who said he thought he had seen a monkey running in the yard outside their home near Heidelberg, Mississippi. She got out of bed, grabbed her firearm and her cell phone, because you got to record it, because if you don't put it on Facebook, it didn't happen. Stepped outside where she saw the monkey about 60 feet away. So I'm assuming it was a rifle, because 60 feet with a handgun's a pretty damn good shot. She said she and other residents had been warned that the escaped monkeys carried disease, so she fired her weapon. I did what any mother would do to protect her children, who has children ranging in age from 4 to 16. I shot at it and I killed it. Good for her. But that's 60 feet with a pistol, probably a moving target. It's pretty good. So I'm assuming it was a rifle. But still, moving target's a pretty good shot. It's a Deadeye. Call her Deadeye Brenda. Or we call her, Deadeye Brenda. We'll start calling her that. So yeah, she killed the monkey that had a disease. Well, that brings up another question. She shot the monkey and there's blood everywhere. Don't they got to be worried about that too? I don't know. I'm just glad that it's too cold where I'm at for monkeys to live, so they won't be coming around here spreading around their diseases. And I saw a movie about that. What was it Outbreak? The Mutaba River virus started with a monkey bite. That's all we need. Then we'll have zombies and all sorts of crap started by monkey bites. Well, we get to that part of the show where I thank you for coming out and I read you my opinion. Again, this is just my opinion. You don't have to agree with it. You can tell me it's stupid. Don't tell me to kick rocks, but it's just my opinion, and I figured I'd share it with you, and you can make your own opinion based on what I say. Sometimes it has to do with the podcast. Sometimes it's completely random. This one has to do with the podcast. Islam is the unmistakable common denominator in the world's most persistent and savage violence. A 1,400-year pattern that erupts whenever the faith takes root and refuses to be explained away by poverty, colonialism, or root causes. From the 7th century conquest that swallowed the Christian Middle East and North Africa in a tide of blood to the daily carnage of 2025, the trail of severed heads, bombed marketplaces, and raped captives follows the crescent flag with monotonous predictability. Look at the map today, and the correlation is blinding. Nigeria bleeds over Boko Haram's slave markets and church burnings. Pakistan's blasphemy mobs lynch Christians on rumors, while honor killings claim thousands of women yearly. In Mali, Burkina Faso, Nigeria, jihadists torch villages and enslave girls in the name of same prophet. Syria and Yemen remain carnal houses because Sunni and Shia cannot share the planet without trying to exterminate each other. Paris, London, Manchester, Brussels, Nice, Barcelona, New York, Mumbai, Nairobi, Moscow. Every modern capital bears scars from attackers shouting the identical war cry. The global terrorism base lists over 210,000 attacks since 1970. Groups invoking Islam account for the overwhelming majority of fatalities. No other ideology comes close. History offers no refuge for apologists. Muhammad's own career began with caravan raids and ended with the conquest of Mecca by the sword. Within a century, his followers had erased the Zoroastrian Persian Empire, seized Christian Egypt and Syria, and stormed Visigothic Spain. The Ottoman Janissaries enslaved Balkan boys for 4 centuries. Barbary pirates depopulated European coastline to feed Algiers' pens. The Armenian genocide, the Greek genocide, the Syrian genocide, all carried out under the Caliphate's banner. India's Hindu Kush, mountain of dead Hindus, memorializes a millennium of temple razings and forced conversions that left 80 million corpses. Fast forward to the present, and the rhythm never changes. The Islamic State's caliphate industrializes rape, crucifying Yazidis and selling them in open markets. Hamas's October 7th program, beheading babies, burning families alive, parading naked corpses, and celebrating in Gaza streets with candy and gunfire. Hezbollah's rockets, the Taliban's public floggings, Iran's proxy missiles, all recite the same Quranic verses to justify the same atrocities. Even in moderate Indonesia, churches burn while apostates hide. In Bangladesh, atheist bloggers are hacked to death in broad daylight. Saudi textbooks still teach that Jews are pigs and Christians must be fought until they pay jizya and humiliation. The doctrine itself is the engine. Surah 9:5 commands fighting pagans until they convert or submit. Surah 8:12 promises divine sanction for beheadings. Surah 4:34 permits wife beating. Hadith mandates stoning adulterers, amputating thieves' hands, and killing homosexuals. Every one of these injunctions is enforced somewhere in the Muslim world right now, by governments or by militias or by families. No other religion codifies violence with such legistic precision than exports it globally through petrodollars and migration. Defenders claim there are distortions, yet the distorters span continents, centuries, and sects. Sunni, Shia, Shalifs, Deobandis, Sufis, all produce suicide bombers, all cite the same text. The common denominator is not oil. It is not Israel. It is not America. It is the ideology that teaches supremacism, martyrdom, and conquest as religious duties. Until the world admits this, the bodies will keep piling up and the excuses will keep multiplying. Again, that's just my opinion. You don't have to agree with it, but I figured I'd share it with you. So I want to thank everybody for hanging out with me tonight. I had a great time. I hope you did too. Remember, Wednesday at 8, we'll be on with The Pulse. You have Damon and Alexandra shows during the week twice. You can see them. You see me every Sunday at 7. Same bat time, same bat channel on the Conservative Corner. And I'm Seth Eisenberg. And if you're interested in sponsoring or having your own podcast, please go to our website and fill out the information form. And our puppet master will be in touch with you directly. And you can talk with him and come up with something. So again, thank you for hanging out with me. I'm Seth Eisenberg. This is the Conservative Corner. And remember, if you live your life based on a set of principles and not some political party, you're going to live a good life and leave something behind your family can be proud of. Everybody have a good evening, and I'll see you Wednesday.